If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The news dropped like a thunderclap across the football world, sending shockwaves through Cleveland and beyond, leaving fans and analysts scrambling to make sense of an announcement that nobody saw coming. Kevin Stefanski, the mastermind behind the Browns' offensive strategies, has abruptly stepped down from his role as head coach, leaving a void at the very heart of the franchise. For years, Stefanski has been a figure of stability and tactical brilliance, transforming a struggling Browns squad into a team with a renewed sense of purpose and identity. From his early days as an assistant with the Minnesota Vikings in 2006, navigating the complex web of NFL coaching hierarchies, to his rise as offensive coordinator in 2019, Stefanski's journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. Now, in a move that feels almost surreal, he has decided to resign, and the implications for the Browns are immediate and profound. Fans are left asking questions that don't yet have answers. What prompted this decision? Was it personal, professional, or the result of unseen pressures mounting behind closed doors? Every analyst seems to have a theory, but the truth remains elusive, buried under layers of speculation and anticipation, while the NFL landscape watches with bated breath. The Browns' locker room itself is rumored to be in a state of shock, with players struggling to process the reality that their leader, mentor, and tactical architect has walked away without warning. The ripple effects are likely to be felt across the league, not just within Cleveland, as Stefanski's reputation, built on meticulous planning, sharp strategic insight, and the ability to galvanize his roster, suddenly faces an uncertain future. Conversations around draft picks, offensive schemes, and player development have shifted dramatically in the wake of his resignation, and insiders suggest that the franchise may have to act quickly to stabilize the situation, though no official successors have been named yet, leaving fans, commentators, and players alike suspended in a collective state of disbelief, trying to imagine the Browns' next chapter without the coach who seemed, until now, inseparable from their identity and aspirations. The timing of Stefanski's departure only adds to the mystique and concerns swirling around the Browns organization, as off-season preparations were already underway, contracts being negotiated, and coaching staff aligned to implement detailed game plans for the upcoming season. Analysts point out that resignations of this magnitude are rare in the NFL, particularly from coaches who have cultivated both respect and success, highlighting that this move could reflect a deeper, perhaps more personal motivation that the public is not yet privy to. Speculation ranges from internal disagreements with management to health considerations to opportunities outside the NFL, and while no official statement has clarified these rumors, the media frenzy shows no sign of abating. Social media platforms are inundated with fans expressing disbelief, nostalgia, and a sense of betrayal as hashtags trend, and posts dissect every past decision, game strategy, and press conference in search of a clue that might explain this sudden pivot. Meanwhile, former players and colleagues have offered cryptic comments that hint at both admiration and sadness, painting Stefanski as a figure whose influence extends far beyond the X's and O's of the game, impacting lives, careers, and the very culture of a team that has long sought stability. Within the Browns facilities, sources claim that morale is fragile, with assistant coaches now scrambling to reassure players, maintain routines, and prevent the uncertainty from translating into a fractured locker room, while front office executives reportedly deliberate potential successors in a race against time to ensure that off-season momentum is not lost. The NFL, notorious for its rapid shifts and strategic recalibrations, now finds itself in the rare position of pausing, observing a disruption that challenges norms and forces fans, pundits, and stakeholders to reassess expectations for a team whose trajectories seemed, until now, clearly defined. Rumors swirl around potential new destinations for Stefanski as well, suggesting that his decision may not signal retirement, but rather a reorientation toward opportunities that align more closely with his personal or professional ambitions. A factor that only fuels further debate about whether this resignation is a prelude to another strategic move within the league or a temporary hiatus from the pressures of professional coaching. Even more confounding is the lack of a detailed explanation accompanying Stefanski's resignation, leaving room for endless conjecture. The Browns, who had come to be identified with his methodical approach and steady hand, now faced the daunting challenge of filling a void that encompasses both tactical leadership and emotional stability. Media outlets speculate endlessly, dissecting past interviews, cryptic statements, and even game day demeanor, searching for any sign that might have hinted at a coming departure. Industry insiders whisper about possible differences in vision with team executives, subtle tensions that, while invisible to the public eye, could have accumulated over time and prompted Stefanski to step away at a moment of his own choosing. Fans, meanwhile, flood forums with questions, memories of past victories and heartbreaks, linking them invariably to Stefanski's coaching philosophy, analyzing his decisions on fourth downs, play-calling intricacies, and player development choices. The emotional impact is palpable, as many Browns supporters express a sense of personal loss, mourning the sudden absence of a figure who, through victories and defeats alike, had become synonymous with the team's identity. While speculation thrives, the reality remains that the Browns now face uncertainty, needing to pivot quickly to secure leadership that can maintain continuity, inspire the roster, and reassure a fanbase suddenly cast into the unfamiliar territory of sudden upheaval, all while dealing with the logistical and strategic ramifications of a resignation that arrived with virtually no warning, making this one of the most dramatic coaching exits in recent NFL memory, a story that will be debated, analyzed, and remembered for years to come. Sources close to the Browns suggest that the decision may also be influenced by long-term considerations, both professional and personal, hinting that Stefanski may have reached a crossroads, balancing the demands of the NFL grind against priorities outside the field. The pressures of professional coaching at the highest level are relentless, with hours of film study, strategic planning, and player management extending far beyond the publicized games. And it is plausible that Stefanski has evaluated the cost, the impact on family life, and personal well-being, arriving at a choice that prioritizes his future over immediate professional expectations. This theory gains traction considering the timing of the resignation, coinciding with a period when the team is still assembling its offseason strategies, suggesting that Stefanski acted decisively to step aside before further commitments made the transition more complicated for both himself and the organization. Moreover, there is speculation that internal dynamics, including relationships with ownership, front office personnel, and key players, may have contributed to an environment where leaving was the most viable option. Analysts point out that resignations in such contexts are rarely impulsive. They typically result from an accumulation of factors that reach a tipping point, requiring immediate action to preserve professional integrity and personal equilibrium. For fans, the news is both shocking and disorienting, challenging the narrative of continuity that had become associated with Stefanski's tenure, while for the league, it introduces a ripple effect across schedules, media coverage, and the general perception of coaching stability within a franchise that has historically sought consistent leadership. As the story unfolds, every day brings new whispers and unconfirmed reports, fueling an atmosphere of uncertainty and speculation, with the Browns organization under intense scrutiny, as everyone tries to decipher the motivations, future plans, and possible destinations of a coach who has suddenly vanished from the helm, leaving behind a legacy that will now be examined, celebrated, and questioned in equal measure by fans, pundits, and colleagues alike. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Inside the Browns facilities, the immediate focus is reportedly on maintaining normalcy while preparing for an inevitable period of transition. Assistant coaches are said to be taking on expanded roles, while internal meetings discuss short-term strategies for keeping players engaged, motivated, and focused amidst a climate of uncertainty. The psychological impact of Stefanski's resignation cannot be understated, as players who thrived under his guidance now face the challenge of adapting to new leadership, possibly altering their routines, training schedules, and approaches to teamwork. Reports suggest that team leadership is balancing sensitivity with decisiveness, understanding that the locker room's response will significantly influence performance, cohesion, and morale. Meanwhile, Media outlets continue to probe every angle, with sports journalists interviewing insiders, former players, and analysts in search of context, narrative, and potential explanations, each adding layers of speculation and conjecture that fans eagerly consume. Rumors about possible replacements circulate relentlessly, ranging from internal candidates already familiar with Stefanski's schemes to external high-profile names capable of bringing fresh perspectives, yet none have been confirmed, leaving the situation fluid and highly dynamic. The uncertainty extends beyond the team, as the broader NFL community watches with curiosity and strategic interest, understanding that coaching changes of this magnitude can shift competitive balances, influence player movements, and even alter perceptions of franchise stability. In this climate, every statement, every press release, and every social media post is dissected for hidden meanings, revealing the delicate interplay between transparency and discretion, strategy and speculation, as the Browns navigate a landscape now defined by the sudden absence of a coach who had, until moments ago, been central to their identity, ambition, and trajectory. Even beyond Cleveland, Stefanski's resignation is becoming a case study in leadership, public perception, and the unpredictability of professional sports. Analysts are examining the broader implications, considering how sudden departures can influence league-wide narratives, media coverage, and fan loyalty. Comparisons to previous coaching exits emerge, yet few capture the abruptness, the emotional resonance, and the strategic uncertainty surrounding this moment, placing Stefanski's decision in a unique and almost unprecedented category. Social media amplifies these discussions, creating a feedback loop where speculation feeds rumors, and rumors influence narratives, further complicating attempts to discern reality from conjecture. Fans create theories, share anecdotes, and debate the nuances of Stefanski's coaching style, while sports psychologists, former players, and commentators analyze potential motivations, behavioral patterns, and the psychological weight of professional pressures. Amidst the frenzy, the Browns must chart a course that preserves their organizational integrity, maintains competitiveness, and reassures stakeholders that the team can endure sudden shocks without losing direction. Stefanski's legacy, now intertwined with a dramatic exit, will inevitably shape future evaluations of leadership, coaching decisions, and team culture, reminding the NFL and its audience that even the most calculated, disciplined, and admired figures are not immune to moments of unpredictability, personal choice, and strategic recalibration, leaving fans, players, and executives alike grappling with questions that may not be answered for months or years, as they try to reconcile admiration for his achievements with the suddenness of his departure, a narrative that will dominate headlines, podcasts, and discussions long after the initial shock fades into memory. Whispers from the league's inner circles suggest that Stefanski's decision may have been influenced by factors far beyond what the public can see, with hints of long-standing negotiations, personal considerations, and perhaps even undisclosed opportunities painting a picture that is more complex than a simple resignation. Sources indicate that conversations with family, trusted advisors, and former mentors may have played a pivotal role, leading Stefanski to conclude that stepping down at this moment was the best course of action for his long-term well-being and professional trajectory. Fans and pundits are left to speculate endlessly, analyzing patterns in his past interviews, social media activity, and even subtle shifts in his demeanor during games and press conferences. While some suggest burnout or dissatisfaction with organizational direction, others theorize that a more strategic, forward-looking opportunity has emerged, one that requires him to leave the Browns quietly before making his next move public. This has ignited a frenzy across sports media, where every nuance is scrutinized, and even the smallest detail is magnified into potential evidence for understanding Stefanski's motivations. The Browns organization is reportedly engaged in careful crisis management, balancing transparency with discretion, aiming to reassure players, staff, and fans that the team remains focused, competitive, and committed to its goals, despite the abrupt absence of a coach who has been central to their identity. Meanwhile, insiders suggest that the ripple effects of Stefanski's departure are already influencing league-wide strategies, from draft considerations to coaching hires, as other franchises watch closely to anticipate the Browns' next moves. understanding that any instability could present opportunities to reshape competitive dynamics. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!